new cases on December 24 and 433 new cases on December 26. Bukod sa bilang ng bagong kaso, tumaas din ang positivity rate. Nasa 2.2% na po ito. Bagamat pasok pa rin ito sa less than 5% indicator ng World Health Organization na nagsasabing under control ang COVID-19 sa bansa. Nasa 97.9% naman ang porsyento ng gumaling. Nasa mahigit 2.78 million ang nakarecover. Malungkot naman naming binabalita sa inyo na kahapon ay 11 ang naidagdag sa bilang ng mga pumanaw dahil sa coronavirus. Nasa 1.8% ang ating fatality rate at ito ay nananatiling mas mababa sa 2% global average. Nasa below 25% naman ang ating hospital utilization rate. Sa ibang mga bagay, congratulations sa bumubuo ng Digong 8888 hotline na pinangunahan ni ASEC Chris Roman at ang kanyang co-host Trixie Jafar Chu. Ginawaran ang programang ito ng Best Public Service Program sa katatapos na 43rd Catholic Mass Media Awards. Keep up the good work. Dito po nagtatapos ang ating opening statement for the press briefing. Mga kasama naman natin ngayon, ngayong tanghali si Undersecretary Halad. Yusek Halad.
Magandang umaga, Capsec Karlo Nograles at Yusek Kraki, ganun din sa ating mga kababayan. Iulat ko ngayon ang pinakahuli tungkol sa epekto at damages na likha ni Bagyong Odette at ang disaster response operations na kasalukuyang ginagawa ng ating gobyerno. Ang epekto sa populasyon ay inyong makikita, nasa 1,082,910 ang affected families. Yan ay katumbas ng 4,235,400 individuals. Yan ay nanggaling sa 6,000 plus na barangays or 483 cities and municipalities or 38 provinces in 11 regions. Ang mga pinakamabigat na tama ay sa probinsya ng Palawan, Negros Occidental, Bohol, Cebu, Negros Oriental, Southern Leyte, Dinagat Island at Surigao del Norte. Sa ngayon ay nasa 561,459 displaced persons ang nasa loob ng evacuation centers at ang iba naman ay nasa mga bahay ng kanilang kaibigan o kamag-anak. From a high of 6,000 evacuation centers na binuksan, meron na lamang ngayon na 1,201 evacuation centers ang bukas dahil karamihan sa mga nagsilikas ay nagsiuwian na sa kanilang mga bahay. Meron tayo ngayon na recorded na 397 na patay, 3 missing at 1,147 injured. Karaniwan na circumstances ng pagkamatay ay yung mga nalunod, may mga insidente na nangyari sa dagat, lalo na yung mga parating pa lang si Bagyong Odette. May mga tinamaan ng mga bumagsak na puno at mga tinamaan ng mga debris ng kanilang nag-collapse na mga bahay or structures. At meron din sa landslides. Next slide. Ito ang epekto sa ating lifelines. Merong 225 road sections at 25 bridge sections na naapektuhan, pero base sa huling ulat ng DPWH ay 2 na lamang ang apektado pa or hindi pa nabubuksan. Merong 7 na airports at 128 seaports na naapektuhan. And meron ding malawakang power interruptions, 284 areas Although meron ng restoration na nagawa, 161. Disruption din sa supply ng tubig, 18 areas at meron na rin na-restore na isang area. At disruption din sa telco services at 371 areas ang apektado. Pero meron na rin ngayong restoration covering 115 areas. Next slide. Ito naman ang damage sa kabahayan, 508,785 damaged houses. 341,000 dyan ay partially damaged at 167,000 ay totally damaged. At ang initial estimate of cost of damage dyan ay nasa 28 million. Merong 325 damaged infrastructure with a total estimated cost of about 16.7 billion. At damage to agriculture, current estimate is at 5.3 billion mula sa pagkasira ng 79,452 hectares of crops, 1 million plus na livestock and poultry at 2,950 agricultural infrastructure at equipment. Text. So ito yung summary ng response ng ating gobyerno sa pamamagitan ng pag-orchestrate ng National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. Meron tayong logistics sa cluster na nagsagawa ng movement of supplies and relief goods gamit ang 300 land assets, 16 land transportation assets, 16 seacraft, and 27 air assets. Galing yan sa Armed Forces of the Philippines, Philippine Coast Guard, DSWD, DPWH, at OCD dahil mayroon tayong chartered na cargo airplane. Ang DSWD naman na namumuno sa camp coordination and camp management at sa food and non-food item cluster ng response cluster ng NDRMC ay nag-deliver ng mga food items, non-food items at potable water. Makikita dyan. Ang DOH naman ay nag-augment ng mga health logistics at nag-deploy ng 32 teams doon sa mga apektadong lugar katulad ng Siargao, Dinagat at iba pang apektadong lugar. Ang Department of Education ay naghanda ng paggamit ng mga schools at classroom as bilang evacuation centers at sa kabuuan, merong 1,403 schools na ginamit na evacuation centers. Ang Search and Rescue and Retrieval Cluster na pinangungunahan ng Armed Forces of the Philippines ay nag-deploy ng 746 teams at yan ay ginamit sa pag-rescue ng ating mga naapektuhang kababayan. Ang DICT ay nanguna sa pag-deploy ng mga emergency communications equipment like very small aperture terminal at satellite phones at radio at yan ay nagbigay ng backup communications. Kaya doon sa Siargao, on day 1 pa lang ay nagkaroon na sila doon sa select area ng Wi-Fi signal. At satellite communications. Ang DPWH ay nanguna sa road clearing at yun nga, karamihan sa mga naapektuhan na road sections and bridges ay bukas na ngayon. Ang Department of Transportation ay nag-monitor at nag-inspect ngayon ng mga airports at saka seaports. At karamihan din sa ahensya ng gobyerno ay nag-expand or lumabas sa kanilang mandated functions, nagsagawa rin ng mga relief operations. Next slide. Ito ang summary ng ating logistics services. Gumagamit tayo ng air, land, and sea assets. Next slide. And a total of 240,000 kilograms of relief goods ay ating naipadala sa mga apektadong lugar. Meron ding 104,340 liters of bottled drinking water na ating pinadala. Kinuha natin yan sa labas ng apektadong lugar, ano? Kasi hindi dapat tayo mag-compete for the market ng mga natitirang functioning water filtration business doon sa apektadong lugar. Kinuha natin ang supply ng tubig sa Ormoc City na hindi naman apektado at saka sa Laguna. At yan ay pinadala natin sa Palawan, sa Central Visayas, Western Visayas, Eastern Visayas at Caraga region. At ginamit din natin yung tulong ng AHA Center ng ASEAN na mga relief goods na naka-start diyan sa Camp Aguinaldo. At gamit-gamit nga natin ang halos lahat ng transportation assets ng Armed Forces of the Philippines, PNP, Philippine Coast Guard, and other agencies. Next slide, please. Next slide. So, nakapag-activate tayo ng mga emergency operation centers or government command and control centers sa 7 lugar. Ang main emergency operation centers natin ay sa NDRRMC building here in Camp Aguinaldo. At yan ay replicated sa mga regions na apektado. Sa Batangas City for Mimaropa, Iloilo City for Region 6, Mactan Air Base for Region 7, Tacloban City for Region 8, Cagayan de Oro for Region 10, at saka Butuan City in Caraga. At meron tayong 3 emergency logistics hubs na na-activate. Ang main logistics hub natin ay dito sa Camp Aguinaldo, Quezon City. Yung Delsa Warehouse na mini-maintain ng AHA Center ng ASEAN dahil natanggal na yung mga nakastock nilang relief goods, binigay sa atin. So na-free na yon ng yung space niya. So ginagamit natin na drop-off point at saka staging area for our relief goods. At meron din sa Mactan Air Base at Surigao City in Caraga. And kung sakaling magkakaroon man tayo ng marami pang international assistance, tayo ay nagrekomenda na on a need basis, mag-set up ng one-stop shop for the processing, for the reception and staging of international humanitarian assistance dito sa Mactan International Airport. Yan ang primary natin. At alternate ay NAIA in Pasay City at saka Davao International Airport in Davao City. Next slide. Sa ating monitoring ng mga donasyon, merong 403 government agencies at 79 private organizations na nagpadala ng tulong. At yan ay pinadala rin natin sa Bohol, Cebu, Leyte, Negros, Palawan, Surigao at saka Siargao. At ang mga supplies na yan ay inyong makikita, food, water, temporary shelter, shelter kits, construction materials, health supplies, hygiene kits, meron ding learners and teachers kits, temporary learning spaces, generator sets at saka fuel. And sa services ay asyon. Ano? Next slide. Meron din sa ating monitoring na 16 na bansa na nag-express ng kanilang tulong at 15 international organizations. Natanggap na natin ang tulong ng Japan through the JICA and on process or natanggap na rin natin pala yung sa Israel, Taiwan, China at saka AHA Center. At yun naman ay pinadala na natin sa mga apektadong lugar. So mabanggit ko rin na tuloy-tuloy yung ating pagpadala ng mga bottled water. Sa kasalukuyan, about 1 million bottles of water na 500 liters each ay dinadala sa Port of Manila at yan ay dadalhin sa Visayas. Via air naman ang para sa Palawan ngayong araw na ito. And via land transportation, manggagaling dyan sa Ormoc para doon sa mga lugar na apektado dyan sa Region 8. Yan ay sinimulan natin ilang araw na at tuloy-tuloy ang ating pag-deliver ng potable water dyan sa mga apektadong lugar. Aside from that, ay marami namang tumulong din, nagpadala ng kanilang mga water filtration equipment, both from private at saka national government agencies. And mabanggit ko rin na dahil sa utos ng ating mahal na Pangulo, nadagdagan na yung pondo ng mga local government units na apektado. Sila ay nabigyan ng pondo para sa augmentation ng kanilang quick response fund para sila ay para sa kanilang disaster response operations na ginagawa. Meron ding inaayos na financial assistance or cash assistance para sa mga apektadong pamilya o individual. Yan ay pangunahan ang pondo ay ibibigay sa local government units under the supervision of the DILG. In fact, kanina ay nagsagawa ng meeting ang NDRRC sa pangunguna ng DILG. And yun lang po ang update mula sa OCD at saka NDRRMC Operation Center. At makakaasa ang ating mga kababayan ang patuloy na tulong na isasagawa ng ating gobyerno. Maraming salamat po at magandang umaga.
Maraming salamat sa iyo, Yusek Halad, at sa tuloy-tuloy na trabaho at serbisyo para sa ating mga kababayan. Please stay on board, Yusek Halad. Kung may mga katanungan ang mga kaibigan natin mula sa media, baka maaari mong sagutin. No? In the meantime, let's go to Yusek Rocky for questions from our friends from the media at sa MPC.
Yes. Good afternoon, Sec Karlo, and good afternoon kay Yusek Halad. Ang una pong tanong mula kay MJ Blanca Flor ng Daily Tribune, why did Malacañang postpone the ceremonial signing of the 2022 national budget originally scheduled today, December 28? Which items are still up for review that delay the budget signing?
Tuloy-tuloy pa po yung review process, hindi pa po natatapos yung review process. At pagsusuri ng budget, alam nyo, makapal ang budget book. No? Napakakapal ng budget book, ilang libro po yan na kailangan isa-isahin. May prosesong dinadaanan yan dito sa Executive Department after na maratify yan ng both the House of Representatives at ng Senado. At pag sinabit po yan dito sa executive branch sa Malacañang ay dumadaan po yun sa vetting at review process. So ilang araw na lamang po at matatapos na rin yung review process and the President will immediately sign the budget. We would want to assure and reassure the public that the budget will be signed. Pipirmahan po ni Pangulong Duterte ang budget for 2022 bago pa man sumapit ang December 31.
Second question po ni MJ Blanca Flor, how will the government fund the proposed 5 trillion budget? Ano po ang inaasahang tax reforms or measures na dapat maipasa para mapagkukunan ng pondo?
Even before the budget is submitted to Congress, no? Meron pong proseso yan, no? Dumadaan pa yan sa DBCC at doon pa lamang ay sinusuri na nila, pinag-aaralan na nila kung ano yung ceiling, magkano ba yung kayang gastusin ng ating pamahalan, ng inyong gobyerno sa darating na taong 2022 at saan pagkukunan ang pera para dito sa mga projects, activities, and programs of government for 2022. So, dun pa lamang at even during the defense in Congress ay nag-identify na po sila ng revenue or sources of revenue kung saan kukunin yung kinakailangan na pondo to sustain and to implement the budget. So as I know it, yung revenue, as they defended in Congress, ang revenue po na ma-generate natin in 2022 is around about 3.3 trillion pesos. The rest will be through borrowings, which we have always done even in previous budgets. No? Pero yung sa borrowings naman po natin, a big percentage, mga 77% ay domestic borrowings po yan. So naka-program na po ang lahat ng revenue streams na kinakailangan natin to implement fully the budget for 2022.
Opo. Third question po mula kay Laila Sanaveria ng Inquirer. Approximately how many families affected by Odette will get 5,000 each? Is the cash assistance the President referring to the same as the 5,000 shelter assistance that Housing Chief Del Rosario said will be given to 97,500 families? What is the criteria for determining the beneficiaries? Similar question with Lenes Capanti ng GMA News Online.
Yes, as reported by Yusek Halad a while ago, they are conducting yung meetings with OCD, DND, DILG, DSWD, and DBM to determine kung sino yung mga families that will benefit from the cash assistance to be given from the national government. Ang pagbibigay po ng nasabing cash assistance ay sa pamamagitan ng tulong ng mga LGUs to be monitored by DILG and to be monitored also by DSWD. Katulad ng ginagawa natin nitong na panahon ng itong COVID, na nagkaroon po tayo ng cash assistance na ginagawa natin through the LGU. So, the same setup, yung parang nasabing SAP setup po natin noon, yun po yung naiisip nating gawin para naman dito sa mga biktima ng bagyong Odette. So, it will be downloaded to the LGUs, the same way as we did yung assistance natin sa COVID. Then per family, tulad ng SAP assistance na ginawa natin during the time ng COVID, to be monitored by DSWD and DILG. Ngayon, sa mga meetings na ginagawa today and even the past days, ang pagda-download po niyan will be through the LGUs at yung sourcing po niyan, yan ang hinahanapan ngayon ng paraan ng DBM. But ang promise po is that by tomorrow, mada-download na po ang funds. So within the day, importante na ma-identify na po yung mga families na mabibigyan ng cash assistance. These are the most affected families, severely affected families. Sinasagawa na po ng DSWD through the LGUs din at ng DILG, sa tulong na ng DILG, yung pag-identify ng mga families na mabibigyan ng cash assistance. That being said, yung tungkol naman sa shelter assistance, alam nyo, as reported kahapon sa Talk to the People, we are now in the phase na magkakaroon na tayo ng post-disaster needs assessment. At ang gumagawa po ng post-disaster needs assessment ay ang NEDA together with OCD. In that post-disaster needs assessment, may iba't ibang subcommittees po yan. Isa na sa mga subcommittees yung sa shelter assistance. So hintayin na lang po natin kung ano yung magiging kinalabasan ng post-disaster needs assessment in terms of the shelter assistance na kinakailangan natin gawin. But right now, ang pinaka-importante for the President is to immediately give the cash assistance dun sa mga naapektuhan talaga, malubhang naapektuhan itong bagyong Odette na ito. And that's the reason why minamadali na po natin na ma-download na po within tomorrow, but within the day, we will already be identifying sino yung mga families that will benefit from the cash assistance.
Thank you, Sir Karlo.
Let's now go to our birthday girl. Happy birthday, Mela Lesmoras ng PTV.
Thank you po, Cabsec Nograles. Sir, unahin ko lang po follow-up question about dun sa 5,000 cash assistance dun nga sa mga biktima ng bagyo. Para lang din alam ng ating mga kababayan, kasi may mga technical terms tayo. Pero kailan po kaya target ng gobyerno na matatanggap na nila, nasa kamay na mismo nila yung assistance na ito kapag qualified sila?
Well, kaya nga po, number one, first step is the identification, which they're currently doing right now. DSWD, DILG, LGUs are doing the identification right now para meron na po tayong listahan, indicative list, kumbaga, ng mga beneficiaries. Tomorrow po, yung downloading na po to the LGUs based on the list of families na na-identify po. Then, pag na-download yun sa LGUs, just like what happened sa SAP, no? Yung pamamahagi natin ng SAP, nung time ng mga community quarantines, mga ECQ time ng COVID. Din po ganun din po, we will be relying on the speed and the efficiency of our LGUs. Kaya nandun yung DSWD, nandun din yung DILG to help, no, and assist. Nandiyan din ang ating PNP, nandiyan din yung AFP natin to also assist na maging kumbaga very efficient ang distribution natin ng cash assistance na ito.
Speaking of tulong pinansyal lang ng gobyerno, Capsec, kasi yun nga nabanggit ni Pangulong Duterte sa Talk to the People na yung service recognition incentive target na before New Year. Pero meron kaya tayong specific date na target para matanggap yun ng ating mga kababayan at para naman dun sa mga hindi regular na manggagawa ng pamahalaan, may chance rin po bang maglabas din ng separate order si Pangulong Duterte tungkol naman sa gratuity pay?
Ayokong pangunahan, no, si Pangulong Duterte dun sa gratuity pay. Hintayin na lang po natin. But dun sa na-announce natin na service recognition incentive, hopefully this can be done as soon as possible, no. So kaya naglabas na agad ng admin order si Pangulo para mabilisan na rin pong maibigay sa ating mga fellow workers in government. Sa gratuity pay, hintayin natin. Wag natin pangunahan. But let's wait for it. Na announcement.
Opo. At panghuli na lamang, Capsec Nograles, tungkol lang po sa alert level system kasi magtatapos na naman ang Disyembre. Ano po yung i-expect ng ating mga kababayan? Kailan kaya magkakaroon ng bagong alert level system sa ating bansa? At may chance kayang mas gumaan pa yung ating alert level kahit nga may banta ng Omicron?
Well, alam naman po natin na yung next announcement natin ng alert level will be for January 1 to Jan 15. Hindi po ba? So, presumably, maybe by perhaps tomorrow, late tomorrow, we'll be able to make the announcements. But hintayin na lang po natin. But that announcement will be for January 1 to January 15. So, presumably, mga tomorrow probably will make the announcement, if not the next day.
Salamat po, Secretary Nograles, Yusek Rocky, and kay Sir Halad.
Thank you, birthday girl. Let's now go back to Yusek Rocky.
Opo, and happy birthday po kay Mela Lesmoras ng PTV. Ang susunod pong tanong mula kay Tuesday New ng DCBB, pero halos pareho po sila ng tanong ni Mela Lesmoras. Basahin ko na lang si Karlo, baka may maidagdag ka, no po. Inanunsyo ni Pangulong Duterte na pinirmahan na niya yung Special Recognition Incentives o SRI para sa mga kawani ng gobyerno. Iba pa po ba ito sa sinasabi niya ipalalabas na gratuity pay? O ito na po yun?
Again, wag natin pangunahan, no, si Pangulong Duterte. Let's just wait for the announcement, and we will make the announcement, no, as soon as we receive word from the President himself.
Opo. Tanong naman po mula kay Ace Romero ng Philippine Star. DepEd is seeking 3.37 billion to repair classrooms damaged by the typhoon. When can the government release it and what will be its funding source?
Opo. Kasama yan sa post-disaster needs assessment na ginagawa ngayon ng OCD with the help of NEDA. And part of the subcommittees dyan would be on infrastructure, subcommittee on infrastructure, also another subcommittee on social services. That being said, pag nagawa na po yung post-disaster needs assessment po natin, kasama kabilang na dyan yung mga classrooms, halimbawa, that document will also identify ano yung mga sources na pagkukunan natin to implement these projects and programs. No? For instance, so sa classrooms, no, na kinakailangan. So part of the funds needed for the construction of classrooms that were totally damaged or partially damaged will be a mix. Some will come from the regular budget for 2022 under DepEd sa school building program nila. Another portion, kung hindi po masasali lahat doon, a portion of that will also be financed through the NDRIM fund. No? And then yung kung may kulang pa, dito na po natin hanapan ng iba pang ways and means to finance the needs for the rebuilding of those classrooms. So tatlong three ways of financing or funding the needed infrastructure. That goes not just for DepEd, for the school buildings, but also for the physical infrastructure, roads, bridges, at kung ano pang kinakailangan natin gawin sa mga ports, health facilities, halimbawa. So lahat po yan will all be encompassed and form part of the post-disaster needs assessment and the identification of the funds needed to complete and do all of the projects needed in rebuilding itong mga na-devastate nga ng Typhoon Odette.
Thank you, Sec Karlo.
Let's now go to Trisha Terada of CNN Philippines.
Hi, good afternoon, CabSec Spokes. So your first question, kasi the health department says it will stop releasing case bulletins starting next year. What does the IATF think about this? And actually, many expressed apprehension tungkol po dito. Will the IATF urge the DOH to release or to continue releasing bulletins or at least delegate this to another office?
Let me just clarify that the case bulletins are actually like social cards na pinapalabas ng Department of Health. But that being said, you can still find the case numbers in the COVID tracker in the Department of Health website. So from the get-go, from the start hanggang ngayon, patuloy pa rin naman po yung ating COVID tracker. Ang hindi na lamang ipapalabas na social card, kumbaga, ay yung nakasanayan na natin na case bulletin. The reason behind that is right now, we are really ramping up our vaccinations. And the focus right now is on the vaccination. We have a target by first quarter of next year, aabot na tayo ng 77 million Filipinos fully vaccinated. So, we will focus on the vaccination. And by focusing on the vaccination, we may see that cases ng COVID will be mild and asymptomatic na lamang. No? Because remember, with so many Filipinos already fully vaccinated, it does not prevent it. Well, the transmission might still be there, but what vaccination does really is prevent severe and critical cases and hospitalizations and deaths. So with a ramped up vaccination, we may see COVID cases that are mild and asymptomatic. So ang maging focus na lang natin ngayon really would be the vaccination rate and looking at hospital utilization rate, looking at critical and severe and even moderate cases. No? So yun yung ating mga babantayan. But that being said, nandyan pa rin naman yung COVID tracker. No? And anyone can continue to track the numbers through the COVID tracker ng DOH.
Yes, sir, we understand. But be that as it may, sir, isn't it important for the public to have an information that's timely and sabay-sabay, sir, para hindi magulo, especially now that we're fearing about the threat of Omicron variant? Hindi ba, sir, high time na ibalik or mas kailangan natin to ngayong updated tayo with the information? Kasi sir, with the COVID-19 tracker, it means na, yes, it is available, but it's not like before na may...
Yes, I think we lost Trisha. But again, yung COVID tracker will suffice for now. The COVID tracker will suffice for now in providing the regular updates to our kababayans. And the IATF will continue to monitor that we will continue to monitor all of these indicators that we have been looking at from the very start up to now. Patuloy po namin ang pagmamonitor ng lahat ng mga numerong yan. Patuloy rin naman po namin i-report yan sa public, although on a different format na. Yung format lang naman nagbago. Yung format which is COVID tracker na po, doon na po natin pwedeng hanapin by using the DOH website. Pero lahat ng numero na yan, hindi naman namin sinasabi na hindi na namin tinitingnan yan. So patuloy pa rin yung pagtingin namin ng active cases, yung new cases, lahat po yan ay tinitingnan natin. Yung format lang po ng pag-reporting ang nagbago. Pero hindi naman namin sinasabi na hindi na namin i-monitor ang lahat ng yan.
Sir, with the threat of the Omicron variant, and nabanggit na nga po ng DOH that the transmission is really inevitable, and we've seen that in other countries, how soon do we see it spreading here in the country? And estimate lang, sir, and with the detected or additional Omicron cases detected, how confident are we with the protocols that we have in place, especially, sir, yung arrival protocols? Because there's this viral video in Parañaque na a passenger who recently arrived apparently did not go into quarantine. Nung hinanap po siya ng BOQ representative or ng barangay representative nila, hindi siya talaga nag-quarantine. So, kung itong isang case na to, what are the chances, sir, na maraming gumagawa pala nito, maraming nakakalusot sa ating quarantine protocols?
Well, we will deal with the violators very strictly and very severely. So kung may mga nagba-violate niyan, then we have the necessary laws and the prosecution services needed in order for us to prosecute, no, and go against itong mga violators. So please don't even try it. Number two, so far, ang Omicron cases po natin na na-detect are all imported cases. Imported po. So, number 4 na po. Meron na pong 4 na na-detect. And as announced a while ago, or was that yesterday, na yung husband was also positive. So, that will undergo genome sequencing again to see. Nevertheless, we are also taking a close look at areas kung saan may nakikita kaming pagtaas, no? If we see clustering of increased cases in any area, then we can already do genomic sequencing in those areas. So, nakatutok talaga tayo diyan. Nakatutok tayo sa lahat ng mga kumbaga warnings or signal indicators for us to see and determine responsibly, no, kung ano yung dapat namin i-genomic sequencing to see and catch kung meron na ba Omicron dito sa bansa. So far, wala pa tayong nakikita. So far, it has been just imported cases. But again, that's why I said in my opening statement, bagamat mababa ang kaso ngayon, we can see na for the past few days, tumataas po siya, no, slowly. And that is probably caused by itong mga violation of protocols, health protocols. Baka people are becoming more complacent as they gather, which is why we need to ramp up more vaccination, more of this vaccination. And we need to constantly remind the people na it's vaccination plus mask, hugas, iwas, especially during this holiday season.
All right, thank you very much, Sec Karlo.
Salamat, Trish. So, let's go to Yusek Rocky if there are no more questions from members of the MPC. Maraming salamat, Yusek Rocky and Yusek Halad of NDRRMC.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Yusek Rocky. Thank you, Yusek Halad, sa tuloy-tuloy na trabaho din at serbisyo. At sa inyo rin, Yusek Rocky. Mga kababayan, ang inyong pamahalaan ay hindi nagsasawang nagtatrabaho para ibalik sa normal ang buhay ng mga taong nasa lanta ng bagyo at ang buhay natin na apektado ng COVID. In both cases, normalcy and recovery will be achieved sooner with the cooperation and help of everyone. Napatunayan na po natin na kaya natin magtulungan para sa kapakanan ng ating bayan. Let us remain thoughtful and vigilant, and let us continue to show compassion and concern for our kababayans. Maraming salamat po.